Mrs. Barber, what's your involvement in the event?
So I've been a LGBT supporter and ally for many, many years. And even prior to being elected, in fact, I'd seen various Facebook posts from people gauging interest, seeing what support was out there for a Pride event. Obviously, I've been a big champion of the Equality Bill as well, and looking at those protected characteristics and really inclusivity and equality for everyone. So an opportunity presented itself to bring a number of people together, and so that was really where I fitted in.
How many politicians are involved in the event?
So there's a small number who've been involved in terms of facilitating early on, and bringing together other people from lots of different sectors of the community, because that's so important to this. But in terms of support, there's a large volume of support, but certainly not in terms of direct involvement.
I mean, is there a need for politicians to get involved in something like this? Just to play devil's advocate a little bit.
I think from my perspective, actually, it wouldn't matter if I was involved in politics or still working as a nurse. I would have absolutely wanted to have been involved in this event. So I don't see my political hat as being why I'm here or why there was a drive for me to get involved in this. I think that there's opportunities potentially in terms of introductions that maybe I can make that I wouldn't have had those contacts previously, but that's not the driving force for me. It's very much around that equality, inclusivity and diversity message.
So what are you looking forward to most about being involved in the big Pride Festival, Carnival, all the goings on next June, and also going forwards with the charity? Is it charity?
Yes, it's that's, like I say, that's more the underlying sort of support arm of it. Yes, we get to have a number of events and all celebrate and hopefully have a great time, but the more serious side of that is the support to the wider community.
Okay. So yeah, what are you most looking forward to about being involved?
I think seeing the legacy that there's an opportunity to be created here. So I think, as Zoe said, this is not just about having one or two big events where we can all have a great party, we can throw some moves on the dance floor, be they great or be they awful. But it's so much more than that. Actually, it's the legacy that I think that the committee are seeking to leave and to be able to continue with. And that's the safe spaces, promoting equality in terms of our community. And that's not just equality in terms of an act, which I think we talk about a lot in politics, where put a bit of law down and we think everything's going to change, and it doesn't quite work like that. So it's enabling that. It's saying, how can we make this work better in reality on the ground for people who are living on our island, so we truly have an equal society.
What is a safe space?
It's a place where you can be yourself without fear of persecution or somebody attacking you either physically or verbally. There are some people who are not able to be themselves. They are not out, as it were, and it gives them somewhere to go to be able to be themselves for a little while.
I think it also gives the opportunity to sometimes to find out what being yourself is.
Yeah.
Because actually, it's very easy to say, people will come out, but actually there's a journey to go on, and for some people that's exploring their sexuality, it's exploring their gender identity, it's understanding with invisible disability what that actually means and how that may or may not impact them in society. But being able to explore that in a safe environment with support from the right people, so that you can then go out into the broader society and be able to do that confidently and be yourself. So it's a big picture, I think.
But so, okay, that's what a safe space is, but what sort of space do you see that being on the Isle of Man? Is the idea that it's a park, or it's a coffee shop, or it's someone's house?
No, it could be just somewhere for somebody to go and have a coffee or have a conversation with somebody who's not gonna judge them.
Is it a private space?
It could be anywhere.
It could be anywhere.
This is
what we need. Yeah, this is what we need to establish, and this is why we're having these conversations, is to find out what's needed, and then when we find out what's needed, then we set about making that happen. So, like I say, these conversations need to happen before we can determine exactly what it's going to be. It could be that we end up with a coffee shop. I don't know, but we'll that's something that we have to determine first.
Yeah, there's a variety of stuff in the UK. What they called safe space came from was under the Albert Kennedy Trust. What they do is a young lad came out to his family. His family disowned him. He had nowhere to go, cast off on the street. He didn't know he had no safe space to go, and ended up being brutally attacked one night. And yeah, that's where that came from, was the fact that he had nowhere to go, and we want to make sure that, is there a need for that here, whether it be a group to go to.
I was going to ask, do we know, does that sort of thing happen here on the island?
There are homophobic attacks, yeah. It's a reality across the world.
Yeah.
It's probably not as prevalent on the island, or it's not as well known on the island, but they certainly do happen. Yeah.
I think certainly there are recorded instances against various sectors of society, one of those certainly being the LGBT community. Equally, there's been instances of abuse against people because of religion, race. Some of that is reported and some of that is not, and I would argue actually that the larger amount is underreported. But there's certainly instances that I've heard directly from people who've been on the receiving end of that.
Right, okay, so let's come back to Pride 2020.
Mm-hmm.
What is the most that you can tell me about that event?
That it's happening between the 13th and the 20th of June.
Island-wide.
Island-wide. Is that as much as I'm going to get out of you today?
Pretty much. We will be announcing some details soon. So if everyone keeps an eye out on the Facebook and Twitter pages, then more details will be announced. But we don't want to give away the store just yet.